Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center of Nassau County is two parts. It's both a museum where children can explore the atrocities of the Holocaust and learn from it. But it's also a tolerance center where we talk about bullying, anti-bias, immigration, lots of very current topics, so it has a dual purpose.
We tell the history of the years leading up to the Holocaust and World War II and the Holocaust through the experiences of Long Island Holocaust survivors. They were the ones who put their stories in this place. They were the ones who insisted that their experiences be part of the teaching of the history of the Holocaust, and we have them throughout our museum.
I come here to educate students, to tell them about the Holocaust, and I think this is the best place to come to, because everybody should know what happened. It happened in the 20th century, the most horrible things. It was the darkest period in human history. People should know about it and not to let it happen again.
I think it's very important to educate today's youth on the Holocaust. Not only is it a history, and the history itself is important and should be honored, but it's a lesson in what happens when we allow stereotypes and things to divide us to run amok.
We are living in a very precious time, and I am amazed every day at how lucky I am to be living in a time where Holocaust survivor testimony is celebrated, is encouraged. That was not something that was happening when I was a kid. Very few survivors were speaking, and the fact that we have so many of them still around who speak is just amazing. But I also know I will live to see a day when we don't have living survivors. And so I know that I have a personal responsibility to continue to share their experiences.
My father's last words to me was, I have confidence in you, you are going to make it, you are a strong girl. And that confidence practically saw me through all these horrible times.
We have visitors who come in who know this history very well, and maybe something that they leave with is understanding how many people actually did stand up and try to save people.
Victims of the Holocaust did not go quietly. They resisted in every way they could, spiritually, physically. I think that has a serious impact on our visitors.
Every survivor has a story, and every survivor's story is horrible. I'm alive, but I suffered a lot. I was a lot sick. I just one day should remember that there was such a thing as a Holocaust, because there are already deniers, there are people who write books that there was no such thing as crematoria and a Holocaust. It was the darkest period in the human history.
It's not going to go away when the last survivor is gone. It's not going to have no meaning just because it's 100 years in the past.
Some of the survivors have had the most horrific things happen to them, and yet they find a way to go on with their lives. That's not only an emotional lesson, but also a lesson in history of how people rebuild themselves, how nations rebuild themselves. And for me, that's the biggest lesson.